So let's go.
What's up,
Dude,
everybody?
the gong gets me juiced up. Desmond, do you guys have a gong in an office somewhere? Do you got one in your house? Like you're a broker? I mean, what do you got going on over there?
I need to get me one. I like the sound of that gong. Yeah,
it's unique.
It's like let's get this going.
Gets everybody going, exactly.
Or boom, we just did something big.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's the common usage, and I think freight brokers might be the largest kind of business consumers of gongs, like in the U.S. If I had to guess, like I don't know if there's any businesses that buy more gongs than brokerages.
No, probably number one.
Somebody might need to audit me on that, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, number one consumer of gongs for sure. So, well, hi everybody. Nice to see you again on another week of Freight Gong Friday. Today with us, we have Desmond Clark with Bear Down Logistics. Many of you may know him, especially if you were in Chicago before during the last, I would say, very good team that we had over here in the city. But
it's been a while, huh?
Been a while, yeah. We've been, yeah. So Desmond happened to be one of the players on the Chicago Bears, and last 2 years now, Desmond, you've been getting into logistics. You started your own company. Tell us a little bit about how that's been going.
It's been going well, man. The last time I was with you guys, different show, different name, but same people here. I was just, I think, getting into it. Maybe 6 or 7 months into it. So since then, it's been about a year and a half since then, and we're still going in this midst of a downturn of this industry. And now I heard the rallying cry is stay alive to 25, and then it's going to turn around. But it's been good, man. It's been a lot of lessons learned. A lot of things that, hey, coming into it and trying to build a business of the magnitude that I'm trying to build it. Never had done that before. Never had set out to do anything like this before. So it's been a growth process, but it's been a good one.
What has been what was your expectation? And what was your expectation going into building a freight brokerage versus some of the realities? And maybe it was the realities ended up actually being better than what you had expected, or worse. How did you see it?
Well, I think coming into it, I didn't have like any expectations. I think if you had some experience in the business, either working with another company, or owning a company before, and you're coming in to start a company, you come in with some expectations. You come in knowing, hey, this is how things go. I came in with no experience at all, never working at a company before, so I really didn't have any expectations. I came in just let's figure it out. Let's see where it's going to go. The only expectations that were set by me was by my mentor at Dre Depot. He set some expectations for me, and those expectations that he set for me became reality in a sense. The struggles that I was going to go through, some of the ups and downs that I was going to go through. The only expectation that hasn't become a reality is the actual revenue that we thought we were going to get from the beginning. That's the only one. And that has more to do with the market, I believe, than anything else.
Is why set the stage for us. So you started, what was like the date you opened your company, or like about just like the time period?
Yeah, so it's two separate answers to that. October 27, 2021 was the date that I started it on paper.
Okay.
May 1st of 22 was the date that I started it in operations, and started to put the money into it, get all of the different systems, and start registering for all the paperwork and things That's when it really went into effect in May of 2022.
So what did you do between when you started the company and when you were done playing professional football? That's probably like a 10 or 12 year gap or something like that.
11, 12 years. Yeah. So
what were you doing?
I did a lot of things in between that time. I started out in real estate. Then I pivoted into I think 10 months as into a medical device. Me and my partner, we were building a medical device company. He ran into some personal trouble, so I had to pivot from that. And then that's when I got into financial advising, insurance, and I stayed there for 6 years. And then
Yeah.
at 2019, as I was kind of growing a little bit, just tired of that industry of insurance and financial planning, because one of the guy who had really recruited me to come in and be his partner, he had left and went to Detroit to become the CEO of Mass Mutual. And once he left, it kind of started to wear on me a little bit. So I decided, hey, let me do what I'm passionate about, and let me get in here and let me start to go out and motivate people to see their own greatness and inspire teams and inspire other leaders, to help other people see their greatness. So I started doing that in 2019. Started writing my book, Principles of Winning, which I have back here. And that was it until 2021, when Brian came in from Dre Depot and said, hey, man, I like what you're doing on the marketing side. Let's talk about combining some efforts over here. And that's when I was introduced to this industry, this freight logistics industry. So that filled the gap for me.
Did you know, when did you realize that you wanted to be in freight?
I'm still trying to figure out if I still want to. No, it was during that time where Brian Rice, like I say, over from Dre Depot, he was, I guess, I don't want to say warn me. He was actively pursuing the relationship to potentially become an employee with his business. And that's when he started showing me, hey, this is what logistics is. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Hey, here's my office. Here's my team. This is what we do from day to day. And I think it was sometime in October when I was like, I like this. I think this is something that I can do at a high level. I just don't necessarily want to come and work for someone. And when I understood that drayage was just a small part of this overall industry, that's when I came up with the idea, hey, maybe I start my own business and we can run parallel with each other, because I want to invade your space of drayage, and you're not doing what I'm doing. So let's run this race together.
That's good, man. That's good. Go ahead, Christian.
Desmond, I have a question for you, kind of around the exposure that you've gotten and through the teams you've been on. You've been on the Denver Broncos. You were sixth round draft pick, I believe.
Yeah.
You went to the Dolphins, and then you went to the Bears franchise as well. And one of the things that I'm curious about is there's a book I have written by. It's basically about Sir Alex Ferguson. He used to be the manager of Manchester United, and it was co-authored by one of the Sequoia partners, Sequoia Venture Capital partners. I was wondering what you observed about when it comes to running an organization, and what the differences between the organizations were that you saw actually led to this outcome that was quite different. Obviously with the Bears, the team got to the Super Bowl. From within the organization itself, what did you see and observe be fundamental key differences that actually enabled that level of success?
So I can't speak on the Miami Dolphins too much, because I was only down there for a short time. I didn't even have a training camp with the Miami Dolphins. So I came in and I was hurt for the first six weeks. So I think it wouldn't be right for me to speak on that situation, because I didn't spend enough time down there. But when you compare the Denver Broncos and compare Chicago Bears, there are more similarities than differences, right? What I've seen with both of those organizations and how it relates to trying to build this organization, it comes down to, hey, can we complete ourselves as one team? Right? Can we have a bunch of individuals that come together under one voice, under one goal, and all pull from the same direction, and be able to, have this kind of symphony of all of these different instruments that's playing the right tunes at the right time, and just making beautiful music. And that's how I see this thing now. And especially in professional football, you got so many different levels, right? You got your executives that's making all the money decisions, all the draft decisions, so many things that I probably don't even know about, the scouting and all of that stuff. And then you got the coaching level, those guys putting in the day-to-day training and planning and game plans. And now they got to bring that down to us so we can go out and practice it and execute that every single day. So we know on Sunday or Monday, it's like every other day it's a football game now, Sunday, Monday. Paul, Tom, thank y'all for coming in, man. I heard that y'all way out there in the woods somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Finishing up the newsletter. Thanks for coming on, Desmond. We appreciate you being here.
But now coming and trying to orchestrate all of that stuff together against, somebody who's actually opposing you, right?
Yeah.
Trying to stop you. That's the only difference between being in professional sports and being in this sport that I'm in now, building a business. There's not an opposition, right? There's not someone trying to stop you. All we have to do is execute, and then we continue to gain ground, right? So that's the biggest difference. Is now the thing that I'm focused on more, which I didn't have last time when I was talking to you guys. I didn't have 8 people on the team. We didn't have like my mission, vision, value statements and all of that, trying to build a culture and have everybody operate as one unit and one team. So I believe that's the commonalities of playing sports at the professional level and trying to build an organization.
Awesome. That's that's one of the reasons why I brought that question up, was to see and understand kind of like what the similarities between business and a professional enterprise, a sports enterprise, would be. Now, did you,
Christian, let me go one deeper on that too. People see the shirt that I got on. I think when I put this shirt on this morning, I was like, this is the same freaking shirt that I wore last time I was on with you guys.
Oh, really?
If you go back and look at it, because I only have one with this on the sleeve, I think this was the same exact shirt. So I had chill bumps when I actually noticed that when I was getting ready for you guys. But so I'm actually a speaker, and I do training for corporate America. And when I go and talk to those teams, it's the same thing. How can we unite as one? How can we build trust? How can we love each other better? In the sense of trying to make sure that we stay on one accord. We don't have all of these huge disagreements, and that we can love each other through the disagreements to come to a conclusion. How can we commit to each other and commit to a game plan? And how can we hold each other accountable to try to reach this one goal that we all have? It's all the same. The ingredients are all the same.
Awesome. Paul, Tom, how you doing?
Tom used to play football.
Yeah, I played football. It was a war zone.
Can't hear you, Tom.
At Stevenson High School. You can't hear?
Oh man, yeah. Y'all. So I coached at Vernon Hills High School. Yeah. I heard Stevenson is not the powerhouse that it used to be. I was surprised.
Hold
yeah,
on.
We can't hear Paul. Yeah. I mean, we can't hear Tom.
We can't hear Tom? Okay, one second.
We can hear you, Paul. We can hear you perfectly.
Now we can't hear Paul either.
One second. I'm gonna just do this real quick.
I think when you lean in, when you guys lean in a little bit, that's when we can hear you.
Or maybe the microphone is only on Paul's side. So, but anyway, while they figure out their technical issues.
No.
Nah, I think you guys are too deep in the woods out there in Poland, man.
No, it's still not that. Still nothing. I guess I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the side of like observable differences.
I can give it to you, and I can just run it. You can.
We can hear it.
Now you're good.
Interesting.
Mic check, mic check.
Yes, 1 2 1 2.
We're good. We're good. What's up, Coach? And hey, like you're running everything now, whereas you were a player beforehand, and now you're the coach. You're the financial guys. You're all of that. You're all those hats, and that's a different game to play.
I'm not all those hats. Thank goodness. One of the first things that I got rid of as far as responsibility was the financial side of this thing and all of the accounting. And man, I used to spend hours being frustrated in the morning trying to figure all of this stuff out. So as soon as I started making enough money here with the company, that was like one of my first outside hires is get an accountant. Because first of all, I was screwing it up. And then it was taking me so long. I would spend like half the day on freaking accounting stuff. So that's one of the first things that I got rid of. But I like this role of being the coach, right? I don't sell anymore. We have a broker agent model where I don't compete with my broker agents. My job is to enhance everything for them. Make sure that we got all the resources, make sure all the processes and systems are in place, make sure that the back end of everything for them runs smoothly so they can go out and do their job. So that's my job, to make sure that they can do their job as efficiently and as effectively as they can. But then being that motivator, being that inspirational guy that keeps them pumped up, keeps them going, keeps them, really focused on the task at hand. You guys know, you've been in this crap can get like stressful. It could get aggravating. It could be frustrating because most of the time we're being told no.
You're right.
And all of my guys are still building right now. So it can be very frustrating. So keeping those guys in the right frame of mind and keeping them focused and keeping them uplifted is something else that I enjoy about the position that I'm in now.
I love that, Coach, because real quick, you realize like, I'm not the best in this position as like the finance accounting guy. And I know what I'm good at. I know I can, figure out good systems and I can motivate my team. And if I focus on that, we can excel much faster versus me spending half the day or more frustrated, all my energy drained, working on this QuickBooks accounting business wizardry. I'm interested, Coach, because I'm in a similar situation right now where right before this meet, I was on QuickBooks trying to assign classes to everyone so I could get good reports of like how much everyone's earning, etc. And partnering with accountants, like getting an accountant to join your team, right? And like someone that you're gonna really trust and go forward and grow with, like how like I've got a couple of accountants now because I've got a company in Poland and a company in the US. And how close have you become with your accountant? And like what's that look like on your end, if you don't mind me asking? So I might be able to get some wisdom out of it and all the other small business owners watching this.
So me and my accountant, we used to meet like once or twice a week when I first started because I was still trying to figure everything out. But then we got into this groove where we don't even talk anymore. Like I can see every month I get the report. I understand it now. I see what's going on. But it was a evolution to that point, right? It was a maturation of getting there to where now I could just look and see what's there. And if I have questions, I could just call them. Like last month, I had something on the report. I was like, why is this showing up like this? And we got on like a 30-minute phone call. And I was like, man, I hadn't talked to you for a while. He was like, you haven't, man. So what's up with that? I was like, no, everything is good. I actually had one. So they actually do my billing and invoicing also. And I had one of his employees actually email me just last week. She's like, hey, is everything all right? I hadn't heard from you in like 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, it's perfect. That's why you hadn't heard from me. And then the next day, she messed up something. I had to hit her. I was like, see, you jinxed it. But just having a good accountant that can coach you and teach you, not somebody that's just going to do the job for you. Like, that's not good enough. You need someone who's going to sit you down and say, hey, here's what this stuff means, right?
You're right.
And actually work with you and say, hey, how do you want to label this? How do you want this to read? So when we give you the report, You understand exactly what this is. And now I'm not just going to go in here and tell you all of this. I'm going to go in here and show you. So when you do have questions, you can always call me, but then you can also go in here because you know what you're doing. You know where to look. You know what hyperlinks to push. You know where to go so you can do this yourself, because he wanted me, and I told him he wanted me to understand it, but I told him I needed to understand it also. But now we're to the point that, yeah, I understand it. I know what's going on. So we rarely, I think we've maybe talked 2 or 3 times in the last 6 months, and probably 2 of those were during tax season.
That's efficient. And it's amazing to hear that you understand those finances, because at the end of the day, you're a founder first. So like, you are the owner of the team in a way. And no matter what, even though you're an amazing coach, like, the owner of the team has to look at the finances, because I mean, I think that's like the way you stay alive, right? And if you don't, like, they
Every
will,
day.
but
I
like,
look at it every day.
mentioned
That's like one of the first things I do every day.
The
look at
brokerage is is an interesting kind of business too, because you're not just taking in money, and it's not just inputs, outputs. It's like, well, it is, but there's the cost structure is different, because you're paying out carriers. A lot of the money that you bring in from revenue from customers immediately goes out the door to pay carriers. Like, that's a massive cost. So it's kind of a different. And it's almost like not really even. Well, I wasn't going to say it's not your money, but like, I don't know how accountants think about it, but like,
it's not.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
comes in, and as you guys know, 85% of it is somebody else's money. It's going right back out.
And that can be so deceiving if you don't understand the reports and the finances, because suddenly you think you're a millionaire. Oh, we're $1 million, like, multi-million-dollar company, right? Because all this money coming into your bank account. And if you're only checking your bank account, you think you're rich. But little do you know, like, those margins are way smaller, and you're operating on way less. And so those decisions you make, like, it should be on that net. And
So Tom,
fun. It's cool.
Having a factoring company keeps your ego in check, because you never see all of that money in your bank account. It's going
Did
through
you
the
factor
factoring
right?
company.
Did you start factoring right away? Like, was that a very easy? Is that a decision you made, or did somebody guide you to that decision?
No, my man Brian, he told me right away, hey, get a factoring company. I mean, as a startup, I couldn't do it no other way. I mean, unless you're gonna put like your own cash into it, and I don't recommend anybody to do that. Hey, pay that 2.3%,
especially when you're starting out, right?
Yes, hell yeah, like yeah, it's crazy. And now I've switched factoring companies, and like I work with HallPay now, but like I told them, I've been with them since March. And one of the frustrating but things that I love about working with HallPay is we have the bumps in the road. But like I told you guys, it's one of the things where, hey, I got to make sure all of this stuff the processes are smooth, the systems are good for my brokers, so they can go out. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And paying attention. So I look at right before I got on here, I was just checking all of my HallPay stuff for, hey, what was deposited yesterday? What came in yesterday? What's going out? What went out yesterday? To make sure all of that stuff is lined up, making sure that, hey, who do I have late? And man, I was happy coming on here. I only have 3 people I only have 3 late payments. 3 late payments. And you guys know how them late payments can stack up. And
with customers, you become a bank. So that's congrats.
So I would look at, I was like, man, it's only one customer that's late with 3 payments, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. So being able to work with our suppliers, and really, like, because they're upstart company, they're a startup company. My TMS is a startup company, so to speak, and being able to work with them as we grow together, I love that part of it too, because I get to help them to be better as they're helping me be better.
Yeah, you guys are. Yeah, I love that. And now that you have that team, you have the report, the finances. Now who can I recruit? Like what quality of player can I recruit, etc. You were saying you have a team of 8 now.
You've got an agent. You're doing the agent model. Why? When did you make that decision to go that route? How did you think that through?
So these ups and downs that we talked about earlier, it was in one of the downs that we made that decision. So in 2022, the last 3 months, we were making 6 figures of revenue for the last three months of the year. And then in January, I'm like, oh man, it's time to kick it into high gear. Let's hire some more people. Let's get this thing rolling. And as you guys know, just because you hire more people is not plug and play. And now I got all of this overhead. We had the
So you hired employees. You didn't hire agents.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And I had one agent, but everybody else was W-2. And then when you hire more salespeople, you got to hire more support team. And so
those were most. Sorry for interrupting. Were those mostly customer reps that you hired at first? I'm assuming, or was it carrier reps and customers?
Yep. So I hire 2 carrier reps and 3 customer reps to go with and 1 guy in operations. So at the time I had 4 customer reps, sales reps, 2 carrier reps, and 1 operations guy. So we had to get a bigger office. I'm carrying all that overhead.
That's a cost.
And so the first 4 months of 2023, I'm just looking at cash going down. I was like, oh shit, if I don't do something about this, we're gonna be broke.
We ain't making the Super Bowl.
So I mean, I had to, and then it was the hiring process. I just thought, hey, take these people at their word. They said they could bring all this stuff over. They're gonna come in. They're gonna sell, and none of the 3 that I hired sold anything in 4 months. And like, oh man, like I'm doing like 20K of GP a month, and 2 of them absolutely zero in 4 months.
It sounds like you agreed to pay them a base rate while they were gonna bring those customers in that they never delivered on to.
Right. So
that's like, I feel like one of the hardest things for a lot of brokerages, where like a lot of these customer reps, they promise you that, and then they don't deliver on it, and it's like, yo, where's the deal on this?
Right.
And
so I learned from that. And so as I'm looking at finance, I was like, I got to make changes. And as I started looking at everybody, I only had 1 person that was profitable. That was my broker agent. So I was like, hold on, this dude is making all the money. He's the one that's not making any noise in the office. He's the only one at work. Not the only one at work, but he's the only one that's like really focused. So I got rid of 3. I got rid of 3 guys. I got rid of 2 guys. 1 guy ultimately left on his own, which freed me up. Now I went from all of those people. And the thing that I hated the most was having to get rid of some of the support staff people, because it wasn't their fault that, we wasn't making enough revenue and profit to keep them. They were doing what they were supposed to do, but it wasn't a whole lot for them to do because it wasn't a whole lot of freight being moved. So that was the hard part. But then now I have 1 rep, I have 1 broker agent, I have 1 operations guy, and myself. We went all the way back down to bare bones. And then I was like, I know that I'm going to grow this thing slow and steady from now on. And now people are starting to come to me thanks to you guys. They oh man, we seen you on this podcast. We love what you had to say. Hey, I'm interested in talking to you. And then people just started coming because they see me out and about speaking about the company and about who I am and how I want to do this and how we're doing things. So I brought on a broker agent, another broker agent, never had been in the business before. And I brought on another broker agent that had just came out of school for logistics. So now I got 3 broker agents, and now that's what we finished up last year with. And then I got a broker agent from freaking Singapore that seen me on social media. And then I just hired another broker agent 2 weeks ago for when I was out speaking at a conference. And now I'm interviewing another broker agent. Just interviewed him yesterday for the first time because of what he see me speaking about on these type of shows. So everybody came to me. I didn't go out to seek anybody. They all came to me.
Yeah, you're leveraging your brands, and you're putting it out there, and that's an effective strategy. They resonate with what you say, with how you present yourself, with the message you put out into the world, and that attracts them to you, and that's the magic of just posting stuff online or doing shows like this or whatever, right? Because people can watch it and they can be, oh, hey, I like that, I want to work with that guy, so it's I mean, I never say, hey, you guys, I'm looking for broker agents, this and that and the other. I've never done that. Yeah. And that's what probably only going to continue to happen. I can't imagine that's going to change.
Yeah, and I need it to happen.
They identify with your character. Like they know to be in the NFL, to do it. You're transparent, you're honest. They see your character and they're like, I want to be a part of that team. So, I feel.
Let me ask you on this topic, Desmond. So that's obviously allowed you to attract, agents to come work for you. Has it done anything on the customer side of things? Like, have you gotten customers from just doing this sort of thing? Like, have shippers hit you up before?
I don't think so, but by extension, you get the agents here, and because I get the agents here, I get customers. Now, then it's not directly related to what I said.
Yeah.
And a customer say, hey, I want to work with that guy. Yeah. I haven't had that yet, right? But I'm getting customers because of what I've said, because agents are coming and then they're reaching back out. Yeah. But going back to why people are coming, I can get on here and I can say all of these wonderful things. And I can say, hey, I'm this good leader, or we got a good company and all of this. But it has to be connected once people come and speak, and they got to be able to trust what I say. And I think every single person that has come on with me, that's something that all of them said is that, I just feel like, hey, I can trust you. I can trust you. And that's part of our mission statement too, is to be the most trusted to be the most trusted freight brokerage. But then what does trust mean? And that's something that we talk about a lot. And trust means to us is a belief in the truth or someone or something, right? So I can get on here and I can tell you, I can say whatever I want to, but is it the truth? And do you believe in the truth of what is being said? And then now, once you come on, now you got to actually see the truth of what's being said. And if those things don't hold up, then it's all going to fall. So the things that I say, I have to now come back and execute those things and be accountable for those things. And really, I don't promise people a whole lot of anything. Some opportunity, I promise that, hey, my job is going to be to help you grow as much as possible. I am not perfect. I am not the freight brokerage guru. You probably have just as much knowledge about this as I do. We're going to grow together. My experience level is not something that's I'm going to come in. I'm going to have all of these, tricks of the trade, the tips and the shortcuts and this and that and the magic wand. I'm not going to have that. But what I am going to have, I'm going to have systems for you to go out and do well. I am going to always uplift you. I am always going to be there when you call and you need something. You'll never be left out in the cold by yourself trying to figure anything out. And I mean, at the very basic level, that's what I promise people.
I love that. That's a team player, man. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, you want to win with your team and the people that join you. And I think people feel that. And that's why they want to be involved. And the people that get involved early are the people that, I guess, create legends once you guys are 5-10 years down the road. And it's a different team at that point, right?
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, man. It's, to me, now that I've transitioned into another role, it's about me helping those agents become successful. And like I tell them, I have a selfish part of me that wants you to be successful. So don't just sit here and just think that, hey, it's all about you.
Yeah.
I got a little bit riding on this too. But if I can help you be successful, that's going to make this company successful, and that's going to make me successful. So we're on the same side of the fence here. We're pulling from the same side of the rope, and I love that part about it, because now it only helps me to help you. And so I want to help you as much as possible, because by extension, again, I'm helping myself.
What did you, okay, so you opened up, so let's say you opened up and then you went the employee route, that didn't work out, and then you transitioned to the agent model. Like, talk about like the tools you've been using. Like you started factoring right away. Like, you obviously needed to get a TMS, I'm assuming, like, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, how did you go through that process? What have you learned there? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I was leaning a lot on Brian Rice. I set up my entire company just like Dre Depot.
Yeah.
Everything. If you look at our colors, they're the same. If you look at our website, they look the same. And I also came in with the same TMS and the same factoring company. Now, I've switched since then. I don't have the same factoring company. I went from eCapital over to HallPay. My TMS, I went from 3PL over to Alvis. Because as I evolved and started to look at stuff and say, okay, what is this the best fit for us? I started going out just exploring what else is out there. Now that we are 8 months, a year into this, maybe I need to find something that fits us rather than just going off of what, I was told, right? That may fit them better and it may fit us better, but let's find out. And what I found out is that there were other things that were best for Bear Down Logistics. So we've changed up a lot over the last year and a half, and I think it suits us better. Alvis has been wonderful. You're talking about a company that sees a small brokerage as a partner and not just as, hey, that's a vendor that we, that's on the roster. No, early on, whenever we needed something, whenever we say, hey, can we implement this because this will help us be better, help us be more efficient, they were always like, yes. And then they would go and build it. And I was like, hold on, this is kind of good. I couldn't do that with my previous TMS. And then the same thing with HallPay. I talked about it earlier. It was just yesterday. They sent me a whole video about, hey, Desmond, so we heard, we know that you guys were having this problem with this. Here's a video how we've corrected it. If you start to enter the information in this field right here, it'll show up for your carrier, so they'll be able to check their invoices better, to be able to say, hey, this invoice paid for this load, blah blah blah. So that process of building systems, and part of our mission statement is to be world class via our I'm gonna keep looking at it here, via our processes, systems, and our partnerships, right? And so as long as I feel like our partnerships are helping us to continue to grow and to be better, then they're the right partner for us, right? Somewhere down the line, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? It may not be the same. I don't know. Hopefully it is, because like I told my guys at HallPay, we're freaking married. So all these road that we're having right now, we got to get this right, because I'm not going anywhere. I can't grow my company if I keep switching different, and I don't want to switch. It wasn't that I wanted to switch, but I said if I switch every year, every 2 years, I can't grow my company. So whatever little things that we have to fix, let's work through those things, so this marriage can be very, very smooth for the duration of time. And my guy was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So that's kind of how I look at all these systems and things that we have to help grow the company.
Christian, you got anything?
No, not right now. I mean, it's super interesting to just listen and hear what
Tom's got no shortage of
plenty.
question. Yeah, all right, go.
Come
Tom,
on,
go
man.
ahead.
I don't. I guess there's two things. We started off the conversation, but our mic wasn't picking up. Vernon Hills coaching. Oh, Paul's looking over me. He's like, we're like in a garden in Poland right now, and I'm screaming. There's people drinking their wines and stuff. I'm excited, man. Okay, Coach. We'll go back to the Vernon Hills stuff. That's whatever. That's cool. We could talk about that another time. Here's a question that kind of I've been thinking about for overall. As a CEO, founder, where would you say you have fumbled the ball, and what do you want to do differently to get you and the team to do better?
So I talked about the biggest fumble so far. That was the hiring and trying to grow too quickly and thinking it was plug and play. I think that's the biggest one. And now to do better, it has to be a process that is not rushed. It has to be a process that I do my due diligence with the people that I bring on, because now, you know, with a couple handful of employees, we're starting to build a culture. We're virtual, so that's even harder to build a culture with. So I think just being very diligent about who we bring on and how we bring them on, right, to get them into the culture quickly. I think is the most important thing. Make sure that everybody is the right fit to come on, and getting them just kind of plugged into that culture very, very quickly.
Yeah,
Coach,
recruiting is a art in itself. That's for sure. And like obviously, I think this is a well-known phrase, but the best advice that I kind of got about it ever was like hire slow, fire fast. And the wrong hires can cost the company a lot of money down the road, a lot more money than
and time.
Money and time, yeah.
Well, time is money, they say.
Yeah.
And I think it's also like pretty important to how companies, especially brokerages too, given the kind of high intensity environments, like how you go about firing somebody is pretty important as well. And making sure that it's very clear to them that it's essentially just not boils down to not being a fit, and that they're going to be able to progress going forward. There's other places that offer employment, and being kind of helpful in that offboarding transition as much as possible, because obviously emotions might be high during that time period, and how you fire somebody is as important, if not even more important maybe, than their experience kind of overall being at the company.
And it's hard to fire people, Christian, because if you are a compassionate human being, you know that two of my guys, they had families, right, that I had to fire, and just knowing that. And then it wasn't like they were there for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years. They were there for like 4 months, and trying to go from one company to the next, and then going to interview and say, okay, why didn't it work out here? Why are you looking for another opportunity so quick? They got to explain that. Right. And that's going to be kind of difficult to explain to somebody else, for them to trust what you have to say. Right. So I thought about all of that, but at the end of the day, what it came back to for me is that I have to protect the company first and foremost, because if I don't protect the company, there's not going to be an opportunity for anyone. Right. So I learned that through another partnership that I had with my guy Justin Taylor over in Tampa. Is like you got to protect the company. I get it. You feel bad for the people, but if you don't protect the company, you ain't gonna have people to feel bad for eventually. So protect the company and then do what you got to do so you can still keep providing opportunities for more people.
100%.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Coach, you've talked a lot about processes and how you've got a lot of processes in place now, and like you've highlighted that word many times, and you're looking into that. Talk to us about the processes, a little bit of the how of that way of thinking. Is that? Go ahead.
If you go back, and I've talked about this a lot, and because hey, we want to win, right? And winning can be defined as a bunch of different things. But when we say, hey, here's where we want to win at, and here's the mark that really is going to determine if we win or lose. Now, you got to go back and look at the origin definition of win, which is to gain or succeed by struggling, right? Just like sport, just like in any sport, you're going to struggle against the other team. Sometimes you struggle against yourself, right? So now, if I want to win, I got to look at, okay, where am I going to struggle to get that win? And now we have to game plan around that struggle. And so when we game plan around that struggle, we got to put a process in place to overcome that struggle. So
it's
now
kind
what
of
is that?
It's kind of like rewinding your game tapes. Yeah,
right.
seeing where you're fumbling, where you're being intercepted,
right.
what play is screwing you guys over. You see that tape, like, okay, this is where we're struggling. This is where we can kind of create a process around this practice, create these repetitions for new guys and experienced guys to, like, the next time this happens, this is how we can more smoothly pass that ball and move through that.
Exactly. And that's the part that I love. And that's the part where I love working with our providers for our systems is, all right, here I keep saying this part right here, and it could be something small, right? And most of the time it is something small. Here's where we keep messing up. We keep having this repetitive thing where we're fumbling the ball. So how do we stop fumbling the ball? How do we reiterate this process so now it's smooth, right? So get through this part of the game and not have to always, hey, let's start over because we messed up somewhere. So that's kind of how I look at the processes. Early on, all my processes was given to me. My guy Brian, like I always talk about, but his business is different from mine, right? So over time, I had to say, okay, hey, this process worked for the first 6 months, but now we're moving and we're growing. So how do we make this process better? We didn't have to overhaul anything. We just had to keep updating and making it better for who we are at that moment. Like one process for broker agents is going to be different from having customer reps, right? So we had to keep updating that. So that's how I look at processes and systems. And this industry is all processes. It is all processes. And if you have a process that break down in the transition of moving that piece of freight or that truckload from point A to point B, then you're talking about fumbling the ball. Yeah, you can fumble that ball, but you also, you can lose that client at the same time.
Yeah, that's losing the game right there if that's a good client. And that process is the way that wide receiver, that independent agent, is running that route right on that given play. And that carrier rep or that customer rep is the running back or the lineman. And the way you guys sync on that and go through those plays and processes is how you make that magic happen. And the more you go through that, the more your team's experienced with that, the smoother, more efficient it is. And better the business, the team operates.
Exactly. And the only difference, I know you guys are good friends with green screens. You keep hearing this thing dinging over here. That's my man Kevin. I know y'all know Kevin. He was like, man, I just caught you a little bit. He's getting on the plane. He just wanted us to know that he was watching.
What up, Kevin?
Yeah, but the only thing is that you don't have a defense, right? That's trying to stop you from, and that's an advantage in business, is that if you can just get it right, if you can execute that rep repeatedly over and over and over, it's like going out to football. What position did you play, Paul? Tom?
I started off my first 2 years as D end. Still
Okay.
hold the record for most tackles in a single game on the Buffalo Grove Bills like little record board. Just humble brag.
How many? How many?
13 tackles
Okay.
in a single game against Bensonville. And then in high school, I played middle linebacker.
Okay,
For
so
the first 2.
so like, hey, if the defense is just over there's no offense, and y'all just running through the plays and doing pursuit drills, right? If y'all could just execute those reps over and over, and for like an offense to go out there and just, hey, hand off the ball, run the ball, take the drops, get all the timing right. That's what we're trying to do as a company. There's no defense. All we got to do is practice these reps. And if we can run perfect reps all the time, but you know what? You're not always going to run perfect reps, even versus air. If you got a post route and you got to go deep on something, you're going to miss a few times. So to have,
Coach, I was
going to say to have perfection.
Go ahead.
To have perfection, right? That's probably never going to happen. But to have consistent execution, that's what we want to happen.
100%. And I think a lot of that is like the defense is almost like life in this business. Like you've got a family, you've got children, you've got your emotions and things going on. You got seasons, weather, news, like chaos in the world. And the way you show up in response to that email, to that customer or that carrier, that process, like when everything's going wrong, can you still show up in like the finesse best way version of you? Or even easier, if you've done it 1,000 times, heck yeah, I can show up and run that play, or at least my chances are much higher. And for me as a defensive end, I was able to every day when I played defensive end, I've got the tight end right here that's going to try to stop me, or the tackle. And all right, I'm going to do this little swim move, get in there, it cause chaos, tackle the sack the QB.
Right.
And I'd repeat that L shape, that cut in and sack the QB or stop the running back every time, not let them come outside, contain. And boom, that process, I repeated so many reps. I visualized that before bed, and shit, I started doing well. And I think that's what processes is in business and life. Like it's routines and habits, right?
Right.
On a deeper level. And so identifying those is what it's about, baby.
And when you start thinking about those things, right? The thing that get in the way is sometimes is that it is routine. And so one of our values is that we is our process of greatness, right? And it says we grow with our process of greatness. Our process of greatness is this: execute the details. All of those little things that we have to do. There's nothing in this industry on the level that we're operating on right now that's intellectually or physically difficult. You know what I'm saying? Not anything. Not as a whole, yes. Yeah. But as individual pieces, it's not anything that's going to like push you to a level where you got to be like, I can't handle this. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do. So again, that process of greatness is execute the details in excellence consistently over time. That's the process. And so there's nothing that stops us from doing that on a day-to-day basis besides our love, our joy for wanting to do it. That's it. Because you could be sick as a dog. You could be sick as a dog and still do it. You can, you could be having a bad day, like your husband or your wife or whoever could have, pissed you off the night before or the morning. But there's nothing about this that we do that you still can't come out and operate in that process of greatness. If you want to, if you have the love for it, if you have the joy for it, you can go out and do it. So we all can be great in this industry that we're in if we come with that right mindset every single day. And you know what? We're not going to come with that mindset every single day because we're humans, right? But that's the goal.
So we've got a couple minutes here.
That's right.
What's like the future look like? Like, what are you focused on right now? Like, where do you want to be?
What I'm focused on right now, I got this stupid lawsuit, a non-compete lawsuit.
Oh, great.
And it's so stupid. Like I believe like the court sometimes, not this time, is a scam. So I coach Little League football, and the head coach, he's a lawyer. He's a criminal defense lawyer. So I was saying to him, man, I got this lawsuit that's going on. It's easy to see. It's very easy to see. They have a non-compete, but on the 2-page non-compete, there, you know how you have the blank lines in the contract, and then you have the signature page.
Sure.
There's nothing up in those blank lines. There's no signature page. There's an addendum page that has his initials on it, saying that I understand the addendums, and it has his initials on it. But they're not handwritten, they're computer generated. So when they first sent me this stuff, I was like, send me the signed copy of the non-compete. They never sent it. They also sent the same stuff, and that's their lawsuit. And I'm looking at this stuff, I was like, no judge is going to let this happen. There's no name on the contract, and there's no signature anywhere. There's this stupid little computer generated initials. And we're going through this long ass process for this lawsuit. And I'm starting to think that the court system is a sham, because what I get charged for the most is the attorneys talking back and forth to each other. I just looked at my last statement, and 80% of it was them having pre-trial discussions or whatever it is. Like, this is a dang on scam. Like, anybody, I could go and show my 13-year-old this thing right here, and he'd be like, well, Dad, there's no names on it, so why is this legitimate?
Desmond, I wouldn't be too bothered by it. I mean, people can sue everybody for anything. The dog bit them, and the neighbor's dog bit you, or whatever. But keep plowing ahead. Wish you obviously best of luck with that lawsuit. I hope it gets resolved pretty quickly.
I'm not worried about the lawsuit. I'm talking about the court system that just can't see through this and throw it out, right? And I know we run up against it. So this is the last thing for me. What are we looking forward to? We just got into the government space. We got 3 government contracts right now, and I see the government side of the business kind of taking off and really leading the charge as we continue to grow. So to answer your question, Reed, that's what we're looking forward to right now, most favorably to grow the company.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
All right, Desmond, best of luck on those government contracts. That's going to be hopefully pretty lucrative. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Desmond, thank you for joining us. It was great catching up with you and seeing that things are going well. Tom, Reed, thank you so much for joining, and we will catch everybody next week.
All right, fellas, y'all have a good time out there in Poland also, man.
See you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Ciao.
Yes, sir.